Here.
Councilwoman Bettina,
Here.
Councilman Phillips,
Virtually here.
and remote, Councilman Casella.
Here.
And Supervisor Thurston.
Here. Everyone please rise. Pledge of allegiance.
Put it in order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Everyone please be seated. I would like to note that Councilman Phillips is not physically here, but he's here Ethernet-wise, and this is also allowed thanks to the governor's emergency orders concerning conducting of business. Chris is not able to be here because of unexpected circumstance, but he is present, and for purposes of our roll call and for the record, he is showing as being in attendance and will be participating unless Councilman Cassell shuts him up from time to time by pushing the switch on. But I want to welcome everybody here, tonight for our first meeting of the year. This is our reorganization meeting where we cover a lot of important items, but tend to be, standard, fairly much repetitive each year, but govern the organization and running of the town, and therefore are extremely important. And this sets the stage for a lot of what we do in and throughout Town Hall during the year. So each of the resolutions is important. That's why we go through them. But we probably, in order to get through the large number of resolutions, we'll move through fairly quickly. There will be perhaps a little bit of discussion on some, but for the most part, everyone here knows, and I think many of our residents know what is to be expected. I'd also like to note that we've posted and will continue to post on the town site, website, and social media information about COVID as we have been doing, but more importantly about vaccination and vaccination schedules. The county, I and Councilman Bill participate in a weekly call. Well, he probably participates in more on this since he's responsible for a lot of this. But we participated today with County Executive Marcus Molinaro and his team, and they are, I assure you, doing everything that they can with respect to getting an expedited schedule and getting distribution centers for vaccinations. The core of the issue really has been fewer than expected, needed, of course, vaccination doses coming in to the state, and then some issues concerning distribution. But it is in process, not as fast as we'd like, but certainly it is working, and we'll be able to keep you updated as we get more and more information from the county. If any of our residents have issues or concerns, they can call any of the elected officials here, can call our county legislators, we have 3, and also for our seniors, Jessica is available along with her team to also help take calls. We can't get everything done because of limitations that we have on us, but we are attending to this the best that we can within the town. Last, before we get into the meeting itself and getting into adoption of agenda, et cetera, I would like to have us all take a moment of silence, and this is in remembrance and also appreciation for all our friends, our relatives, our residents who are no longer with us at this first meeting, this year, and have been in the past year. And I would all, like us to just bow our heads in a moment of silence in reflection and memory of them. Okay. Thank you, and may they rest in peace, and God bless America. So now we'd like to have a motion for the adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? We have no objections to the agenda. Acceptance of the minutes. This is to acknowledge the minutes of our December 14th, 2020 meeting. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. Next, I'd like to have a motion to open the public portion of the meeting.
I make a motion to open
second
the
it.
public
Okay.
portion of the meeting.
Motion
please.
and second, all in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
nays or abstention? Yeah, I think I'll let Chris say aye first, or nay, or whatever, then, before I drown him out.
That's the idea.
Oh, that's the idea, okay. Okay, so the motion passed. So if anyone has any comments relating to any item on the agenda, please come up, identify the item, identify yourself and your residence.
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was for you,
Okay.
Chris.
Okay, the public portion is closed. So now we'll go to the resolutions. We've divided them, thanks to the town clerk, into several compartments. The first one is concerning what we call procedural issues. And the first resolution is Resolution 2021-1. And this is a resolution adopting the rules of the town board, which are attached to the agenda, and there are no changes in them from previous years.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. The next item is 2021-2, resolution establishing the amount of undertakings to be furnished by officers, clerks, and employees of the town of Wappinger. There is no change to this resolution from last year.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or
Aye.
abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes. Next item is Resolution 2021-3. This is a resolution authorizing attendance at the 2021 Association of Towns Annual Meeting. For information of the residents, this year the annual meeting is not being held live. Instead, it's going to be held virtually. So what we are being asked to approve is the attendance through registration fees virtually. This is the same class of identified town employees and officials as in last year. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Just-
nays?
Aye.
Just for the record, the resolution designates Al Casella to serve as the delegate.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The virtual delegate?
Yes.
Virtual delegate, yes.
Next item is Resolution 2021-4. This is a resolution authorizing the submission of the supervisor's annual report to the state controller. Same resolution, different financials and report as is compiled by myself, the controller, and the accountants.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or
Aye.
abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes. Next item is Resolution 2021-5. This is a resolution authorizing the use of a mechanical check signing device. There is no change from the past.
Move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item is Resolution 2021-6. This is a resolution designating various banks as the official depositories for the town of Wappinger. The only change in this is actually in names of some of the banks that have changed, so either they've gone to an abbreviation or some other form, but otherwise it's identical to the past.
Do we have any of the banks that have more than $20 million in their accounts?
That I don't recall.
We
if
should take a
do.
look at it.
Well,
'Cause
we-
I know last time we did this in 2019, we did, and we shouldn't have all our eggs in one basket. So I've talked about this in the past, so we should.
We'll have
Definitely ask Frederick to take a look at that.
normally our first meeting, we would have a report of the controller, but because of all the items, I've put it off to the next meeting, to the
Okay.
second meeting, so Mr. Cassell, I'll have him report on that at that time.
Great,
And
thank you.
just for the board and the public knowledge, in addition to, there's, under the general municipal law, there's a requirement that these banks provide additional security over and above the FDIC insurities. So any of the accounts that are maintained at these banks, there's underlying securities that guarantee the town's money.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, thank you. Do
So-
you have a motion?
I'll move it.
Okay. Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item is Resolution 2021-7. This is a resolution designating the official newspaper for the town of Wappinger. Actually, it's official newspapers. We have two. One is the Southern Dutchess News, and the other is the Poughkeepsie Journal, which have been our newspapers for a while. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item is Resolution 2021-8, resolution designating the time and place for holding town board meetings for the calendar year 2021 for our residents. Again, this is our second Monday and second Thursday of every month, unless there's some holiday on those dates. There's only one meeting according to this, and as we've had in the past, in each of the month of July, that's July 19th, August is August 23rd, November is November 15th, and December is proposed for December 13th. And of course, if we need other board meetings, we will rule from that here at the dais. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item is 2021-9. This is a resolution establishing petty cash funds for various offices. No change from last year.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. The next item is Resolution 2021-10. This is a resolution establishing a pay scale for seasonal recreation department employees in the town of Wappinger. This is part-time counselors and instructors. Jessica, would you like to make any comment? I think it's fairly straightforward if you looked at it, right?
Only a couple small changes, mostly having to do with the increase in minimum wage, except for one of them.
And this is part of your budget. Did you submit it? Okay, thank you.
I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Okay.
Second.
Move.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. I'd like to mention that we also have traditionally had another resolution relating to Recreation Department. Because of COVID, things are still a little bit in flux, so Jessica has yet to finalize some of the dates or other alternatives. So that will be done in the not-too-distant future as we see things more clearly. Next resolution is 2021-11. This is a resolution establishing paid holidays, for the town in 2021. This is 2021-11. The town and the highway department this year have the identical floating holiday, which will be on July the 2nd. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. The next item is a resolution establishing pay scale for part-time town patrol personnel. This is actually for our liaison who manages it. There's a blank in there. It needs to be filled in at $5,600 for the year 2021. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. The next item is Resolution 2021-13, resolution establishing remuneration for water meters in the town of Wappinger. Just for public's information, there is a $1.30 remuneration for each manual read. That's where they have to go up to the meter and read it. There's a 65 cents for each reader read by radio read. And then proposed in here, which is I think identical to last year, is a repair and maintenance fee where a meter has to be repaired or maintained at $13. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. The next item is Resolution 2021-14. This is a resolution to adjust the town of Wappinger mileage reimbursement rates for 2021. As I recall, Bill, that's by federal,
IRS.
IRS, and that's being set at 56 cents, per mile. Do I have a resolution?
Move.
Second.
Okay, the motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item is Resolution 2021-15. This is a resolution establishing salaries for elected officials in the town of Wappinger. These numbers are the same as last year and as also passed in our budget and publicly announced. Jim, what was the resolution or the number? But we previously.
In the public hearing notice.
Public hearing notice,
For the town budget.
Yeah, so there's no change. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item in category is our appointment, resolutions. The first one is Resolution 2021-16. This is a resolution acknowledging the appointment of Deputy Town Supervisor to the Town of Wappinger. This is Kevin Hawthorne. I would like to note that he's done an outstanding job in a number of areas, especially helping to improve the quality of life, recognition for our veterans, among others. So I'd like to have a motion for.
Move.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed, and thank you, Kevin. Next item is Resolution 2021-17. This is a resolution authorizing the town of Wappinger to initiate requests for proposals for various town professionals as part of the 2021 reorganization process. From time to time, we do submit requests and then have submitted RFPs, requests for proposals. Some we've done a little bit more regularly, some we haven't done. This year, we are going to be requesting proposals for tax counsel, tax certiorari, labor and employment counsel, and conflict laws. That could be one and the same firm or firms. There's no restrictions on that from our perspective, but that will be determined by the process by which there will be an application submitted and then interviews by the board. Also, there will be our town engineers. That will be for engineers and conflict engineers. Public accountants, we have not done that for some time, actually not since I've been here. And in much of the world, they try to rotate or at least review it about every 5 years, I think, Jim, or so, 7 years. So it's probably long overdue, so we'll be doing that. None of this means that we're changing. We're just going to request, proposals for that. And finally, there is going to be the planning advisor, and I'm requesting in here, the date's blank, but I'm requesting that we'd have those submitted no later than February 15th, and that interviews would be starting either on February 22nd or the first meeting of March.
Move.
Are we doing RFPs for all our professionals?
Not all.
Why
no.
not?
Water artists, we're not, we're not doing it for the IT as well.
I would think that it would be fair that we did it for all.
Well,
There's
we can do it if you want.
there's businesses out there that are opening up. I think competition is good, and I think we should give it a chance to everybody. And I'm open to discussing it, but
Yeah.
I think that's a fair
Well,
thing
there's
to do.
actually nobody else in water artists, and I haven't found anybody for our IT either.
Oh, there's a
as
lot of
well.
IT out there that are opening
Okay.
up. So I think we should give them an opportunity. If there is none that send in, so be it. But I think it's good
Okay.
to let everybody
What's
have
the
it.
pleasure of the rest of the board members?
I have a motion on the floor.
Yes, there's a motion and second, all in favor? Aye.
On the question, all due respect, I appreciate your opinion. I just feel that we should move on this right now and then potentially explore additional RFPs later on, just so we
That's
don't
fine,
hold this up.
but I think we should just do everybody.
Okay, we have motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just a quick question on the legal
Yeah.
piece. Where does the, as an example, a labor attorney come in? Is
Huh?
that part of legal?
Pardon me?
Like the labor attorney?
Yeah.
Is that part of the legal thing, or where does that?
Yes, it's part of legal. I mean, it's one of the several. We've always had a separate labor and employment council
Okay.
as well as tax certiorari, town
Got it.
council as well.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, so, did we pass that?
Yes.
I
Yes.
forgot. Okay, thank you. The next item, this is one of them too, is the Resolution 2021-18, resolution appointing bond counsel services. This is Douglas Goodfriend of Oric, Harrington, and Sutcliffe.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item is Resolution 2021-19, resolution designating an insurance agent for the town of Wappinger, same as in the past, Marshall and Sterling, and I would add they've actually saved us a lot in premiums over
I'll move this
the
one.
past year.
Move.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item is water artists. This is the one we just were discussing briefly. This is Resolution 2021, resolution employing the stormwater management consultant services for calendar year 2021. His engagement letter and the rates are attached. They're the same as in the past.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. Next item is Resolution 2021-21, resolution approving the IT consultant. This is Craig Roberts, and there's a letter and rates attached, same as in the last year.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes. Next item is Resolution 2021-22, resolution appointing town historian of the town of Wappinger. This is for Jody Cavaccini to continue in his position. This is a non-salary position.
I'd like to table that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll move it.
I'll second it, and I'll say that Joey, you've done an incredible job from an historical standpoint, as usual. We greatly appreciate your service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you, Joey. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item is Resolution 2021-23. This is a resolution appointing the dog control officer for the town of Wappinger. That is Gerald Owen.
I'll move.
Second.
And just on this, I did talk to Jerry a couple weeks ago. He was a little under the weather, but despite that, he was able to handle a situation that involved an individual who was seriously injured by a dog, and it needed to be handled in an expedited manner. And despite the fact that he was ill, he was able to work with law enforcement to make sure that doesn't occur again. So I appreciate that.
And we've had other similar experiences, and I think that he's also got some of the dogs that aren't on leash and going after people under control as well. So there's motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next item is Resolution 2021-24. This is a resolution acknowledging the appointment of the confidential personal secretary to the town of Wappinger supervisor, and that is Sandra Vacchio, who has been doing an outstanding job.
Move.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. The last of the resolutions of appointments for tonight are Resolution 2021-25. This is a resolution appointing part-time secretary to the Planning Board and part-time secretary to the Zoning Board of Appeals. This is Beatrice B. Ogunti, and I would like to note that she's really done also an excellent job, particularly
She
as
has.
we've opened Planning Board and Zoning Board for public meetings, has been able to get the information out, maintain decorum along with Judith Sabriz and Cheryl and others. And so we kept the town going. So do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay,
And
wait.
let me just say also, B goes above and beyond expectations. I mean, we're going through a very challenging time, as the supervisor said, and for us to be able to be as transparent and open with meetings has been a challenge, not just B, but Judith and the staff here, the support staff that go outside their job description to make sure that we can get the public into a meeting is just phenomenal. So B is an example of that, so.
I agree. I also want to thank Barbara Roberti as well and her whole team, because they've done an outstanding job. And we had, 7,500 people or something like that?
Oh, we've had a total of 10,500 in
500. So we've had a lot of people come in town hall, and they've been handled very professionally. And I guess I want to thank you and all those involved in this. So thanks again, Barbara, and to her team.
Your
Thank
whole
you.
team, thank you so much.
And also, along that lines, I want to thank, our IT folks. Today, Craig, Roberts, Joey, Sandra, who's also continuing to help in big ways on these meetings. We're able to get all this electronic hooked up so Chris could participate and we could have other involvement. Also, Bill, I want you to know that this room now is capable to be an emergency operations center because we got phone lines, brought in here, as you can see. So we got all that done, today. So I want to thank them. So
Thank you.
we have a motion on that? I forgot if we did.
There was a motion and a
Okay,
second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Next item and category is our general resolutions up on the screen. The first one is, and this is moving away from our reorg, resolutions. So what we just went through in fast order, but actually with some good discussion, were our reorganization ones. We will have a few more now later on as those numbers and also RFPs and clarity of where we're moving on certain events get finalized. So this one is related to a few items that we have to address concerning some ongoing and important aspects of business of the town. The first one, and some of this is relating to COVID, which is the first one, Resolution 2021-26. This is a resolution permitting the town assessor, to require real property tax exemption renewal applications pursuant to COVID-19 Emergency Eviction and Foreclosure Prevention Act of 2020. Mr. Hand, would you like to discuss that?
Sure. So this in the rapidly evolving COVID situation, with respect to property tax exemptions for senior citizens, the exemptions that are based on income, typically each year the property owner has to submit a renewal application. Because of COVID, originally Governor Cuomo had issued an executive order that dispensed with that requirement in the event that the town adopted a resolution to do so. In the last week of December, the legislature adopted the COVID-19 Emergency Eviction and Foreclosure Prevention Act of 2020, which required the the town, to extend that exemption. But it gave the town board the ability to adopt a resolution, which is what's on the agenda tonight, to permit the assessor to require a renewal application where there's reason to believe that the property owner no longer qualifies for the credit, which would be the property was sold, the property owner has died, a person who's not qualified has been put into title. So that's what this resolution does. And for the public, for anyone who has a senior citizen exemption that requires a renewal for purposes of 2021, you do not have to file any paperwork to get that exemption. And if you're in a situation where you think you will be entitled to a larger exemption, the assessor will have forms available so that you can make an application in order that your exemption could increase. So that's what this resolution is. It gives the assessor the authority to look at situations where the property has changed hands or the owner has died or something to that effect.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Rand? Okay, do I have a motion?
Move. I'll
Second.
second it.
Okay, a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. And thank you, Jim, and thank you for keeping us apprised of the ever-changing landscape in the COVID relief areas. And we'll have another one later on. Resolution 2021-27. This is a resolution authorizing the release of security posted in connection with NERP Holdings. This is Tractor Supply and Acquisitions Company, or NERP Holdings Acquisition Company. And this is a $350 that has been retained. They have complied with the terms. Barbara, would you like to say anything further?
That was to cut down the trees on the property prior to them getting planning board approval. That was over a year ago, and Tractor Supply is getting ready to open soon, so they'll be seeking the CR. So yes, it's appropriate to return it.
All right, I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes.
And just for the record, Tractor Supply, the individuals that built Tractor Supply have been very responsive to our concerns and the neighbor concerns relative to the buffer. So I think it just should be noted in the record that we've had a good relationship. I guess they turned the building over to Tractor Supply at some point, and then the Tractor Supply company inhabits the building. But just for the record, this project, which was relatively contentious because of the proximity to the homes, they have gone above and beyond, and also thanks to you, Barbara, but also Bruce Flower from the Planning Board, and Supervisor Thurston and Joey and everybody that on multiple occasions went out and actually met with the residents in the street It doesn't get any more grassroots than that.
Peacefully. in the
Right,
state.
and actually walked to the concerned areas and they addressed the issues. So I appreciate everybody going above and beyond for that.
And in fact, even after that meeting, which Councilman Bill Beal was also present, we had some ongoing questions and concerns with respect to the berm and the trees, the bushes that were planted. And again, as Councilman Beal has said, they were extremely responsive, and I think got it pretty good. I'd also say we have learned some things that I think the planning board is going to be taken into consideration in the future. So it was, and we hope that it will be a good citizen in the town. Despite several of my requests, though, my disappointment is that they claim in their website that they do a lot of good and social activities. I've never heard from them about some possible donations and, consideration for helping us further in some of
Well,
our
they'll be here
activities.
for many years, so
Yeah.
I'm sure. But we did learn about elevations.
Yes, we
We
did.
learned a lot about elevations.
I'd also like to point out that the staff in the building department made sure that somebody was out every single day during this build, to make sure that they stayed within the approval process and to protect the neighbors.
This is going to be another destination, just like Adams.
I think this is a win-win.
Yeah.
I honestly do.
And-
It will be.
And-
It was a little challenging, though.
Well,
through the
I mean, I
process.
think anytime you have
Yeah.
resident involvement with major concerns,
Yeah.
and also, again, back to Barbara, I just really do want to emphasize is that our inspectors were out there daily, and during various stages, including, when they were, pulverizing the rock bed that unexpectedly
Well, I felt that at
appeared.
my house, too, so
Yeah.
I don't live very close.
And also thanks to some neighbors both immediately alongside and across the street. We did get good feedback and were able to, work with them. But the key was really, they had a manager, that supervised the whole
That's right.
project that was
That was key.
communicated.
That
And
was
we hope that that sort of example will continue with other developers in and throughout the town. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, again, for everyone, and doing that. It was a real team effort overall. The next item is Resolution 2021-28. This is resolution authorizing the contract for installation of a lighting system at Route 376 roundabout. We've talked about this before. We've gone through this. This is the new interchange, what they call roundabouts here in the state at 376 New Hackensack All Angels, which we, both town board, the town council, engineers have been through a lot of discussions with them and will continue to have it to ensure that it's done in the best interest of the town. But one of them is that they are truly trying to make it look nicer than many roundabouts. And one of the items is some street lighting that, in fact, we've reviewed and approved. Joey Cavaccini, as our historian, did a lot of research to come up with something that we think is good for the town. And I would say that also the state, NISDOT, has been extremely helpful in doing that. So we've developed, I think, a good rapport with them, and I would be remiss if I didn't say also that County Commissioner Bob Balkine has also been very helpful. We still have some things to see as neighbors and so forth, how it really turns out with respect to drainage, which has been told that that's going to be addressed there. But overall, this, I think, has been, again, very positive and sets the stage for some others. I'm going to talk with Councilwoman Bettina about one. But I think you'd be pleased, I hope. But anyway, I'm strongly in favor of this and recommend it to the board. So do I have a motion?
So the state's going to pay for the installation of lights?
Yes.
And then the town's going to be responsible for maintaining it?
Yeah, you let me.
And there'll be about 13 lights that are going to go up?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, how is the lighting going to be billed? Was this a general fund? How did we decide to do
Right,
that?
it's gonna be,
It's
it's
just an A
actually
fund?
gonna be a B fund,
B fund?
Okay, so it's a B fund street light charge?
yeah.
Okay.
Frederick carries the
I think that's the best
street
way.
lighting in the B fund.
Some municipalities like to create districts everywhere. I
No.
don't think this is the right thing.
Yeah, I
think
don't think so either.
I mean, we do it where necessary. We don't, yeah.
We don't
think
have
this
to
one
in
We
this
don't
We
have to.
talked about that,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Talked about
and
this.
there's another resolution on for a light on at Shamrock and Old Hopewell. So the policy in the town in the past, with the exception of the lighting districts, is and most of the major intersections, and we had this issue with Sergeant Palmetier Way, and some of the lights along Route 9, are, general fund expense. In this case, because it's outside the village,
Right.
it's a B fund expense, so.
Okay.
So that's, because the trick with creating a district is, first of all, none of the property owners requested this.
Right, right.
And so you would have to do it on motion of the town board, which would make it subject to permissive referendum. And,
Right, but this is, you're talking a major roadway.
Yeah.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
Exactly.
It's, this is
Absolutely.
benefiting not just our town residents, it's benefiting our visitors and everybody else.
Yeah.
So
Certainly.
I
Exactly.
think it's more than appropriate
It's
to
a
be.
large
Yeah, no,
spend.
it's definitely, a town-wide charge, rather than a district charge.
So I'll make a motion to move it.
Go ahead.
Second.
Let me just, on the question, so, I know you said it's a B fund streetlight charge, but I do think we have an A fund streetlight line that is
Bless you.
funding streetlights outside the village.
Yeah, no, Frederick and I, we have to kind of drill down on this. Frederick, and there's some question regarding this. The controller's office has said that street lighting is an A fund charge, it's a
Right.
general charge. However, we're not providing street lighting in the village, so it should theoretically be a B fund charge,
So, it's probably an inherited, issue over the years, just based on interpretation.
Yep.
It doesn't matter, it's nominal,
Yep.
but,
Right.
I don't wanna go into those weeds tonight, but,
Yep.
perhaps before we get to budget in 2021, we
Yeah.
should take a look at that.
Sure.
You know?
Yep.
That's all I have, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes. The next item is Resolution 2021-29. This is a resolution adopting the Town of Wappinger COVID-19 telecommuting policy. This was provided at our last meeting for your consideration. Mr. Haran and Sarah, have made, and Sarah's on now?
Yep, she should be, I see her.
Okay, and so again, marvels of communication when they work. So this is, I think, again, strongly supported and recommended by myself as well as Sarah, our HR director, and it really rounds out in many ways our COVID protocols. We've seen some need actually during the recent months to have people telecommuting for quarantine reasons. Doesn't mean that they may have had it, but just because of basic quarantine, it's allowed our town to operate. This really formalizes it. Mr. Hand, would you, and then I'll ask Sarah to talk about it. Have any
Sure.
comments?
Yeah, and so, also with respect to this, I mean, the policy, basically says that, it's at the discretion of the town, where the need arises. One of the things is the town of Wappinger, when we started looking at COVID back in March, because of the size of the town and, government, we don't have many non-essential people. So we do have a lot of essential people. And so the question becomes how to best protect the workforce. And this gives us the flexibility. One of the things that has happened is to maintain continuity of operations, we've split departments in half.
Right,
and
exactly.
Kept some at home, and some working remotely. I know, for example, in the court, they had a person who was quarantining, and then someone in the court was diagnosed as COVID positive. So the person who had actually quarantined was then brought in to replace all the people who then had to go out. So that's.
So it was very effective. We were able to
Right.
keep the courts operating as they're permitted by the state.
And that's one of the other things here, the court and the highway department have different, the court has a different policy. They're responsible for dealing with the guidance for the Office of Court Administration. And then in the highway department, it's a very different situation. The highway department is considered to be an essential service. So, and it's not really, that's not a job that you can really do from an off-site remote location. So the telecommunication policies don't work as well in the highway department or buildings and grounds.
Right.
So, but, there's flexibility built into the
Thank you.
policy.
Thank you, Jim. Sarah, are you there?
I am. Just to add, this policy is an agreement between the employer and the employee. It outlines the expectations that we have of the employees, what's required of them, who can work remotely, and also it goes into their workspace. So I think this is necessary and important for the town to have.
Just to add on what Sarah had mentioned, one of the important things in this policy is it requires keeping of time and attendance logs, and that way, we can make sure that people are getting credited for leave or, whatever, for purposes of retirement calculations, payroll calculations, maintaining state and federal requirements. So all of that stuff, needs to be done. And, this is a policy where we have a more formal procedure of making sure all of that happens. Here we have at work, we have a time clock, and people clock in and out, where if you're working remotely, you don't have the same provisions.
Any questions before we move on this? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Move. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion pass. Thank you, Sarah, for putting this together. Jim, thank you as well for your advice and counsel on this. And we'll be, I have a meeting with the reports tomorrow, so we'll be discussing this. But this actually completes kind of our Phase 2 COVID protocols that the board had reviewed and agreed with. So, and again, I think Councilman Beal, you can, verify, but we probably had the most complete, process and code and procedures among at least the majority of the municipalities in the county.
Yes, we have very comprehensive plans. So now we take it all, we put it together, and it becomes the Town of Wappinger Pandemic Response Plan under the New York State statute, which is actually a continuity of operations plan. The county is utilizing Tetra Tech, which is our vendor, to create the county plan, and then part of the deal is copies of those plans and templates will be provided to the municipalities so that you can take all the information that we have, plug it into the framework, and then we meet the deliverable, which is April 1st.
Right.
Personally, I think, based on what we're seeing right now with COVID, that April 1st deadline may get pushed back, but at least we'll be consistent with meeting the April 1st deadline, and we can always amend it from there.
Okay, thank you. The next item is Resolution 2021-30. This is a resolution authorizing installation of street lighting at the intersection of Shamrock Hills Drive and Old Hopewell Road. This is one that both Councilman Phillips and I have endorsed in supporting this. For those of you that go up and down Old Hopewell, and literally up and down, and figuratively in some areas, but here it's a steep hill that has a high incidence of accidents and near accidents because of very poor visibility, both lighting and also just straight visibility because of the hill. So this lighting is designed to remediate one of the more dangerous conditions in the town. And in fact, Central Hudson has been very supportive of this and others. I would like to say that they have been really very closely working with the town in all cases, storms and non-storm. And so this is one that actually they went and did the surveys. These are LED lights, low power utilization, and actually, quite honestly, I had mentioned to them we're going to have the resolution tonight. I expected approval. They're already up. I drove by today. So, do I have a motion?
Motion to table. No.
Just kidding. I'll table you.
Move to authorize.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. And thank you, Mr. Phelps, as well, for working with me on this and for us getting to this point. And we'll be continuing to address dangerous road situations. We did find we have in the past, but I think thanks to a concerted effort of our councilmen and women, our building department, highway department, we are also looking at, I would add Camo as well, a number of water leakage situations onto town roads that cause bad icing. So we're trying to address some of those as we look at it and find both short-term and long-term remedies. Short-term is making sure we keep up with the salting of it, and but each of the councilmen and women here are looking after their own areas and keeping us advised. I think, Al, you may have a comment or two, because I know you were out there on the roads. Just about that.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Oh, you're good, okay, okay, thanks. So anyway, that was just a added comment. So the next item is actually I think another benefit that we offer the town, unlike many other communities that don't do it. This is Dial Ride. It's Resolution 2021-31, resolution authorizing agreement for Dial Ride services with Dutchess County. There's no change. This is really administered by Jessica, and I've been working on, I think, Jim, you reviewed the agreement, which is same as last year, but especially this time and urgency, it's one of the few ways that actually our seniors are able to get out to appointments, and to do things. Now this is one that we do with the county. They have been very cooperative, one of our shared services, and I think we're one of the counties that takes gets most benefit and cooperation out of shared services, and so I would like to have a motion authorizing this.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. The next two items, Resolution 2021-32 and 2021-33, are related to, in the matter of extension of the United Wappinger Sewer District for 32, and 33 is the Water District. This is for sewer and water district extensions at number 8 SAS LLC. So the first resolution is on the sewer district. Mr. Horan, would you like to summarize? I know the board's familiar with it, the residents may not be, but what has been involved in this?
So this is an extension to include one property on Old Post Road. It's formerly Route 9, and so it's the Stonegate boarding house. There's also apartments there. The district was extended. Originally was extended to serve Adams, and then there were two separate extensions that moved up on the east side of Old Post Road to service up to Aroma and a parcel which was just between Aroma and the road, which is where the district currently ends. The property here, the water system has a high level of salt in the existing well, which is not uncommon among a lot of the properties on Route 9. And here, I'd like to credit the attorneys for SAS and the engineers. We've been working with this to contemplate taking in additional properties. So here, the most particularly the sewer system has been designed. It's going to be at present a pump station which pumps back up Old Post Road toward Mercedes-Benz, which is where it would intercept, and it runs along the street there. And the pump station has been sized should some additional properties wish to join the sewer district, and also it's also been designed so that theoretically in the future, if there was a bore underneath Route 9 to get over toward Sergeant Palmetier Park in that area over there, the direction of the flow could change so that it wouldn't be as circuitous as it currently is. So the water system, so that's the sewer system, water system. Water's a little bit easier to design than sewer systems. And again, so the property owner is spending a good chunk of money to improve the water and sewer system here, which can benefit future property owners. This is to schedule a public hearing for the first meeting in February, which would be February 8th, correct? And attached is the map plan and
Yes,
report.
February.
Right.
Yeah, and I'd also add, Mr. Rand, that with
Mr.
respect,
Shaw.
yeah, yeah, and with respect to the water situation, it's one where, you know, the Department of Public Health has
Yes.
condemned the well
Right.
because of the chloride and other
Yes.
issues. And this is part of what has been our board's ongoing efforts as we find emergency situations with water or sewer, you know, to come up with approaches that not only address those non-compliance and health-threatening issues, but provide for a possible future step to expand water, sewer services in other areas in the vicinity, which this does in fact help, you know, going forward. So, so in this case, 32 is for establishing the public hearing. Is that correct?
Both 33, one is
Yeah,
for.
both of
wa-
them do, yeah.
Both of them established a public
Right.
hearing, one is for water and one is the other is for.
So with respect to 2021-32, do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Then 2021-33 is in the matter of the extension of the United Wappinger Water District. Extension number 10 says LLC, and this is again part of this companion resolution set. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, motion second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. And Mr. Rand, would you advise then the applicant,
I will.
lawyers and engineers that there will be a public hearing scheduled for February 8th? And then the town clerk will be advertising that. Thank you, Joe. The last of the formal resolutions on the agenda, and there may be one or two based on discussion items. Resolution 2021-34, that's the approval of the correspondence log that is attached.
Move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. Now we'll move into items for special consideration, new business. We have a couple here, and you know, this will be before we go into executive session on personnel and contract matters. The first item is stop sign at Hamilton and Connor. We had some discussions with residents, Councilman Beal and Mr. Haran and I and Barbara Roberti were involved. You know, Jim, would you like to summarize what's here?
So with respect to the stop signs, the manual, every municipality actually throughout the country and in New York State as well, is bound by what's called the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. And under the manual, the key word is uniform, so that, you know, throughout the country, drivers get the same type of signs, whether they're in Washington State or New York State, and that they, you know, understand basically the rules of the road wherever they are. And under the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, in order to place a stop sign, there's a need, we're required to conduct what's called an engineering needs analysis. Part of that would be accumulation of accident data, things like that. You know, and again, the level of formality of the study really depends on the type of the intersection. So here, you know, we need to have the engineers to the town look at the intersection. You know, in addition to, you know, accidents, some of the other things you take into account is sight distances, the level of traffic in the road, you know, on the road. You know, one of the things is that you know, uncontrolled intersections where there's no stop signs, you know, are not uncommon. You know, particularly on low-volume roads, we have, you know, probably hundreds, if not thousands of them throughout the town. I mean, that's the most common type of intersection that we have in the town. So, you know, that's kind of one of the reasons why, if you're putting a stop sign up, it almost indicates that there's a different type of dynamic at that intersection. So, you know, if the board wishes, you know, we could have the town engineer look at that and, you know, come up with a formal presentation with respect to, that particular intersection.
So that's a good way to put it. There is a unique dynamic to this particular intersection. Marlowville and Connor is an existing stop sign that recently was put in, I don't know, recently, 10 years? I don't even know.
Yeah, I
It's
want to say,
maybe
I
more.
drafted the resolutions.
Yeah, time flies.
Around 2000, yeah.
Yeah, when you're
2010,
sitting here, time
2009,
flies. So
yeah.
now you have the one side controlled, and then the other side, which is Connor and Hamilton, not controlled. And it's basically just causing some confusion, really, on who has right-of-way. You're also dealing with roads that don't meet any standards. You have one road that's like 6 feet wide, so there's some challenges there. The residents are requesting a stop sign on Hamilton where it intersects with Connor, which makes the most sense, but I certainly think that we should have the process occur here so that we can get feedback from the engineers on this and determine what the best way to move forward is. So I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the engineers to study that intersection and then report back to the town board.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed, and so we'll instruct the engineers to go do that study. Councilman?
And just let the record show, and I've said this before, I'm not a big advocate of putting up stop signs,
Not at all.
but in this case, it's just a confusing
You know,
intersection.
and as I mentioned, we
Safety is of
looked at
the
it,
utmost,
you
too.
know.
I
Yeah,
mean,
sometimes
confusion
you
causes
can
safety issues.
You can overinstall sometimes.
Yeah.
So to the board, I've raised this issue a number of times. Stop signs are not designed to control speed.
Right.
This is not a situation where somebody is saying speed, there's a speeding situation. Stop signs are most appropriate in a case where, there's confusion regarding who has the right of way, sight distances, things of that. This is not a situation where we're looking to reduce, people are speeding.
Right.
Right.
Stop signs are not, appropriate for speeding.
Right, this is not a speed
Yeah.
situation.
And further to that, I would note that we just received, I guess, about a week or 2 weeks ago, the year-end summary from Sergeant Stewart, and, mentioning, going over the number of roads, there are well over a dozen, that they have at the request of the board and the councilmen and women for their awards, to increase the stationary patrols. And there has been a significant number of violations that have occurred, and not just going through a stop sign without stopping, but other cases. So, and we have continued and will continue this year in our budget to fund those activities, and we continue to request residents where you have concern to raise them our attention. We are also, I don't want to use the word continue again, but I will, continuing to look at a couple of real significant ones, such as Kent Road, such as Ketchumtown, such as over in Chelsea, that are on our list, and trying to figure out a better way to address those, and very much on our radar, although I know that some of our residents are concerned about the speed at which the sloth is moving, but nevertheless it is moving. So we'll continue to look at this. We have other things such as signs and so forth that I think we've put to rest, although have to be installed, I believe, in some areas. So we're still looking at that. The safety on our roadways is paramount. The next item.
Just
yeah, go ahead.
to Councilman Beal's point, I looked up the code. The stop sign at Marlowville Road and Hamilton Road was added on November 10th, 2008.
Wow, okay.
Wow, really?
It's time flies.
It does.
Okay, good, thank you.
It took us about 3 meetings to figure out what road was intersecting what road.
Well, that was,
Yes, exactly.
because I don't remember them having signs, right? Wasn't that an issue?
We had to go to the old 1867 map, I think, to figure out where Connor Road started. Hashtag Town of Wappinger problems.
But it's solvable, doable. Okay, thanks. Next item is one that we had overlooked, I guess, when we were approving. You'll recall a couple meetings ago, we approved Camo to install 2 backup generators at our 2 pump stations that were without those at Kent Avenue, Sherwood Heights. What overlooked was the need to go and do some boundary surveys to figure out where we could put them. So we would be actually putting them on town property. So, Camo,
It's cheaper to pay the surveyor than the
we
attorney.
hold, Barbara Roverdi and I, we hold a consultants meeting very regularly, at least once a month. And so we had one last Thursday, and much to the town clerk's chagrin, we came up with, I think, one just as he was about ready to release the agenda. And as a result, we have this here for items for special consideration. But again, we've received, and I think the board has a letter, to me and the board members from CPL, where they're proposing locating the boundary lines, establishing the property, the easement boundary for putting these two stations in. They'll coordinate 811 utility mark out and locate markings and provide a certified map of the two pump station sites and stake out the boundary and easement for those. There's a fee proposal, one for the Kent Road site of $4,600 and $3,700 for the Sherwood Heights site. And once that survey is done, then Mr. Tremper, who is ordered, I think, ready to go with respect to the generators, will do that. Mr. Horan has prepared a resolution. Jim, do you want to add anything more?
No, really, actually, the bigger issue is with respect to fencing.
Okay.
So security fencing, Mike
Critical
Tremper has
infrastructure.
recommended that, to prevent vandalism of the generator and provide for security, that the installations be fenced. So keeping the fences inside the property lines is really the bigger issue.
Well, we have no setback, so,
Right.
right, Barbara, no setback on fences, so we're good.
Correct.
Well, let's not make that regulation until after we put these fences up.
And
But
we're not-
it is
and we're not
critical.
limited- in municipal purposes, we're not
But
limited to 6 feet.
since we tend to get an increasing number of disputes on fences on where the property line is, we want to make sure the town does not infringe.
There's an
on
idea.
property.
It's cheaper to pay the surveyor than the attorney.
Yeah.
But these are considered critical infrastructure also,
Yeah.
so
That's
from a
right.
security standpoint.
Exactly.
So this is part of the $135,000 we approved a couple weeks ago?
Well, no, this is
Two
in addition
generators, so
to
this is in
it.
addition
Yeah,
to
this
it?
is related to that
Okay.
project, but the cost we approved was for the generators.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
And so, I believe the generators were budgeted. Mike
Yes.
had indicated that the generators were included in the budget. I do not believe this amount was, so this
No.
resolution authorizes an appropriation from unallocated fund balance from the sewer district to pay for the cost.
Yeah. That's correct, Jim.
Yeah.
Now, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
Any other questions? Okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. I have two items that I want to just bring to the attention. One is we have this wonderful town guide this year, and actually board members, when we go in for the executive session, Joey's put together a little bag with some, and you can have as many as you want. But this is available here in Town Hall, and they're going fast. Very popular. As you can see, it's thick, a lot of useful information. Joey and I put this together with many other inputs. This is a compilation of old and new, but the artwork and the displays Joey has done remarkably well. I think it's a beautiful piece, one of a kind in the county, and also I'm very proud of the fact that we've worked very closely with the county and their printing department to save the town a lot of money at very special rates. The staff there, as well as Sandra here, have done a tremendous job. Joey has, of course, done all the alignment, but then they took the more rough version, which wasn't that rough, and made it really look quite beautiful. So I encourage everyone to pick up a copy or a request if you don't want to come in to the town because of COVID concerns in the town hall. And please let us know and let your councilmen and women know about this. And we have a lot available. But again, thank you, Joey, for this. Thanks to Sandra, and thanks to the county. as part of our ongoing variety of shared services designed to get quality work, but also at reduced taxpayer costs. You know, any other councilmen and women, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but we
Joey.
have some copies for you.
Thank you.
Great job. This is phenomenal product. I knew Joey was involved because there's 19 pictures of him in here.
Only 19 this time?
Yeah, only 19 this time.
And you should see the time that it took for him to do the coiffure.
No, it
Well, you
really,
gotta take different poses, so it takes
it's
time to do all
impressive.
that.
I did find a spelling error, but we'll talk about that
We'll
after the
talk
meeting.
about that offline.
But no, seriously, this is great. It's now getting to the point where we may want to consider binding it next year, right?
Well, we're maxed out on pages now.
We
The county
can't do
has-
any more pages with the county on
Otherwise, it
on this
doesn't,
approach.
it doesn't close,
Yeah.
yeah.
it
The
doesn't
county
look-
said that we are maxed out on pages, otherwise.
But
they
yeah, we would
Yeah, I
have
mean-
to bind it.
You'd have to bind it next year, which might not be a bad
So-
idea, right? It might cost a few bucks, but this is great. Let me ask you a question. Is there a PDF version of this perhaps?
Yes, and I also put it online on the town website.
Oh, you did?
It is available.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Under
Yep.
the residents and community sections of the website.
Yeah.
2021
Yeah.
Harbinger Town Guide.
Somebody
Okay.
actually asked for that right on Facebook. I think
Yes.
that's when you posted it.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
so we're out there and being distributed to different restaurants, cafes, and other areas as well.
Grinnell Library, the Village of Wappingers Falls, Village Hall has them.
But well, you know, you can take as many as you want, so you can use them, distribute them as well.
Good, great job, good work
Thank you.
Nice
to
job.
to everybody here.
So the second item that I want to mention is that this time of year, you get water and sewer bills and also tax bills. And we are encouraging everyone, where possible, not to come into town hall and to physically pay. You mail it in, we have drop boxes outside, you know, that are picked up, looked at, you know, regularly. You know, we're concerned about long lines and having to make people stand outside in the cold, because we can't handle everything here in town hall. We have been working very closely with our tax collector, Lee Freno. As Bill can tell you, I've raised this issue at the county to be raised at Albany, you know, with respect to how we manage this, because we are anticipating, based on previous years, around 2,000, 2,500 people actually to come into town hall that don't send it in. And while we welcome you, we'd like to see you, and certainly we're always open, at least at this point in time, and we don't have any immediate plans to close. But we do really want to caution you and hope that as many of you can, that you don't actually have to physically walk into town hall and drop these off. We've, you know, I think, Joey, you've also, you know, you've been working with me and Leanne on some flows of traffic in case we do have lines. We normally see that the first week and the last week of tax payment season is when the largest numbers come. Please don't rush in here, you know, and please also don't wait the last minute. Try to spread it out over the 4-week or whatever period of time is, so you won't get frustrated when you're waiting in long lines outside in the cold, you know, taking your COVID temperature and so forth. And but we encourage you, of course, to pay your taxes and pay them on time. But you know, really, I'm asking the residents to spread out your visits where you must come in over that period of time, rather than up at the front and at the end of that period of time. So, Joey, you know, we have it. You know, I can share with you, but we're just looking at how flow, you know, works with minimizing the negative effect on our residents and especially on our staff. So I just wanted the board to be aware of that, you know, concern. Councilman Beal is, because he's on the phone calls when I've been, you know, shaking the tree a little bit on this, out of concern for everybody's health and welfare. So, do any of our, you know, board members have any comments that you'd like to make at this first meeting?
I have something, an issue of unintended consequences that we should discuss. Someone in the town clerk's office is telling everyone to call me about the garbage ticket issue.
I think you said to call you.
I probably did, I don't know. So here's the dilemma. So how do we handle this?
Call me if they want.
Well, yeah, but we could probably figure this out right now. So a number of people bought garbage tickets in December and November, bought 20 or 30, some are saying, and now as part of our new approach with the recycle center permits, we've included garbage, which I believe is the right thing to do, right? We're not nickel and diming anyone anymore, but there are folks that bought garbage tickets
Yeah.
before that policy changed, and someone in the town clerk's office is telling them all to call me.
Well, we're also call forwarding his
I
idea.
don't doubt it. There's definitely, I called Joey, I said, what changed here?
You should be getting emails too.
I am, don't worry, I am.
Joe, crack a smile.
So I answered all the phone calls and had some long conversations with folks, and I said I would bring it up at the meeting. But before I give you my opinion, I just want to see do we have a policy right now? What is the process if someone comes to you and says, hey, wait a minute, I bought 20 garbage tickets in December at $2 each. Now the garbage tickets aren't being accepted. Do I get a refund for the garbage tickets?
I think, it's something that we had overlooked when we were talking about it and
Things
hadn't really considered it. I think that,
No, we did discuss it at the executive session at the last meeting.
did we?
Yeah,
If we,
we
okay,
mentioned it.
okay.
Have them call me if they want new tickets, because not many people buy that many tickets.
Right.
Just so happens they all called Bill.
Well, I probably said that. It was probably one of our 11 PM executive sessions. I was probably delusional. But I did receive the phone call. So now, if someone wants $20 back, my first thought was, can we credit them toward their
Well,
permit?
that was mine too.
However, since the board hasn't discussed this and hasn't come to any sort of consensus, the town clerk's office is not giving any sort of refunds or any sort of credits.
Well, he's
which-
not authorized.
Right, which I believe is the correct thing to do at this point, because the town clerk's office isn't making a policy. So is it fair to say that for the month of January, individuals that purchased garbage tickets in the last 3 months of 2020 can either be refunded for the $2 each of their garbage tickets or apply that toward a permit for 2020? You're only talking about minimal dollars here.
And do you have a listing of how many did buy them?
Yeah, sure.
So this way we could just notify them and say,
So always take a look at the number
yeah.
before we make a
We
We
decision.
don't know if they were using it.
Bill,
Excuse me,
my
sorry.
preference would be to credit, so we don't have to
Well,
worry about exchange.
The people that I
of money and
spoke to
all
have
that.
already purchased their permits, that's the
Okay.
problem, so,
Oh, so they're gonna need
Yeah.
to get something else in exchange.
yeah.
Well, credit for next year.
Well, I tried
No.
that didn't go
I
over
don't
too
think
well.
they're gonna buy that.
I know.
So why don't we figure out a policy in executive session, whatever we're gonna do, we'll come back out and we'll make that call. I don't think we should make
Yeah,
the call right
that's
now.
fine.
And I'm saying, I'm not saying call every single person that bought garbage tickets, I'm saying, if you put a public notice out there that if you purchase garbage tickets in the last quarter of 2020,
Right.
you have until January 31st to
Yeah.
return your unused tickets, because we don't know who used them and who didn't, to get $2 back for each ticket, or apply that towards your permit purchase for this year.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, I'm just saying we should probably.
All right, so we'll get
Because I
on
think earlier than that, we've been open, the garbage site has been open throughout COVID.
Right.
Even earlier than we
Correct.
opened the general.
Correct.
You know,
These are people that bought them in the last quarter, not knowing that
Yeah,
we were gonna,
understood.
and let's face it, we didn't know we were gonna
No.
adopt
Right.
that policy until we had that discussion at the last meeting.
Thanks to the town clerk for raising it.
But
you know,
there's
we-
not
we-
that many, right?
There's
There
really
really
not.
isn't that many, so maybe just a letter to them after we decide
Yeah.
what procedure we wanna follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just go from there.
So we can discuss it in executive session, but
Right.
I did wanna get that on the public
Excuse
record,
me.
just so that they know we're talking about it. And
Okay.
we're basically gonna make good, that's what we're gonna do. It's an unintended consequence of us trying to streamline the process. That is all I have, thank you.
Councilwoman Batiste?
I just hope everybody stays safe. This is very trying times. Just please stay home if you can, and please stay safe.
Chris, are you still awake?
Oh, yeah.
You have anything you'd like to say?
I can't hear Bill, so I guess he's getting all the phone calls on the garbage tickets.
Yes.
I agree. Something's got, a policy's got to be made to accept, especially for the people that bought 800 tickets in December.
Okay, Al, anything?
Yes, I just, wish everybody, again, a happy new year, make sure everybody stays safe. We do have to come up with a policy for the tickets. Again, it was the last-minute decision to go ahead and, help out the seniors if we could by not charging for bags, a $2 charge. So, again, we didn't see the other part of this, so we'll take a look at it. I think it's, something we need to consider, and if we can do a refund, we'll think about doing that. But that's it.
Okay.
Steve Frazier had one item, if the board
Come on,
allows.
Steve.
I sent you all an email last week about the double order of park benches, and the consensus was that we should hang on to them at a discounted price. Just need the board to specify where the funding should come from.
Well, I thought we did. I thought we said
meet
Parkland Trust last time.
It was Parkland?
Yep, $5,000
I
Parkland
thought
Trust.
so,
That's
too.
correct.
So
Yes.
I don't know if I need a
Yeah.
motion from the board to.
We already made the
We
I
already
think
made the
we
motion
made
the
it.
last meeting.
Okay,
Yeah,
It's fine.
Barbara?
good enough. So we'll just tag on to
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Correct.
Very good,
Did you
thank
want
you.
to say
Thank
something?
yeah. Kevin,
Thanks, Steve.
since, you're here and you've been reappointed, we're going to have a formal discussion, I think, at the next meeting on veterans, but would you like to say anything right now? I know I'm catching you by surprise, but since Steve's there and we're just,
Totally by surprise, but instead of that, I'd like to address Maya Siegel, who was, or the issue of Maya Siegel. She was our, the American Legion
Yeah.
oratorical
Good.
contest champion for the county and for the local post. We held something at RCK in her honor. Now, the supervisor suggested that we have her and her family at the next town board meeting. I just wanted to lay the groundwork for that. Should they come at the beginning of the meeting?
yeah, so what we're suggesting to honor or recognize a very promising young, student that had an exceptional speech on the Constitution. I actually put together fairly quickly, which always help, a supervisor's proclamation, but I thought it would be nice to have a little bit more formal recognition of her, and Kevin and I were talking about it, as well as maybe her give a couple-minute oration out of that and invite her and her parents here if the board would agree.
Sure.
And therefore, I would say at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
I would just say have her limit the number of people that she
I
brings.
agree.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah, I
definitely
expect
eliminate.
just her mother, father, and herself.
Perfect.
I
Yeah.
think that's
Okay.
good.
And,
And I would suggest the beginning of the meeting too.
Yeah.
Not
Otherwise,
to-
I'll be here till
Okay.
whenever tonight.
Yeah, we don't
So
want them
they'll-
to,
They'll come and she'll be recognized and then they can leave.
And have her give a couple minutes of
Yeah,
her
sure.
Little
oratory.
speech, whatever.
yes.
All right.
Great.
I would talk about veterans initiatives, but there's nothing up
Yeah,
here.
next week. I
Next
caught you
week.
by surprise, and I'm glad
Yeah.
you mentioned about Maya, because I knew there was something in my mind that I wanted you to talk about.
I did get an email from Randy Ross and you regarding an April event that we can discuss
Yes.
outside the meeting.
Okay, good, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. And Barbara, you okay? Okay, very good. Oh, I have a motion to go into executive session. We have some
Second.
personnel. Okay, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed, and we will be back before midnight.
Oh, gosh.